welcome to the podcast. Thanks for joining us. For the purpose of the recording, I'll play the ending cutscene to the season right now.
Unknown network detected.
Agent, glad you could make it. It's really good to see you.
Vanguard identification confirmed. Rogue network activated. Agent status, rogue.
What do you say, Agent? You ready to see how far down the rabbit hole really goes?
System clone complete. I've missed you, Vanguard. Welcome back, sir.
We're set. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah, that was insane. I was shocked. I did a video months ago where I said Keener was still alive, and I explained why I thought he was still alive, and I gave evidence that suggests he could have been still alive. There's a lot of communication in just little bits throughout, even Warlords of New York expansion, little phrases about Keener always being ahead, the greater plan, and there's just a lot of hints that Keener was still alive. And for whatever reason, I went against that, and I thought, now he's dead, and he is dead. It isn't going to happen, but as we just saw in the cutscene today, he is still alive. I was like, wow, okay. And not just that, he's teamed up with Kelso, they've gone to Brooklyn, and that's the DLC. We spoke a lot about the DLC coming after this season but being delayed. How are they going to do that? What does that mean for the next season? So I want to discuss all this today. First, obviously, Keener still being alive, and what you think they're going to do for the next year until the DLC. And I know, Hello, you got a lot probably want to say, so I'm going to let you start this off.
Nothing really to say anymore, is there?
Surely there is.
I'm done now. I'm done.
Done.
Oh, well, I cheated because I listened to. Well, I read the spoilers yesterday because I can't not read spoilers if I see them. So I sort of knew, but then I helped you with that video when we were the only. Well, we're not the only two, but we thought he was alive 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So we sort of were proved right. Mm-hmm. And it just sort of shows there's a lot of stuff put in the Division game to feed us. But I personally think this was the plan all along. Me and Sense had a conversation earlier, and he seemed to disagree. But I think this was the plan. It's just been staggered or filled because they're having to. The Division 3's been delayed. Well, it wasn't announced, but it's been delayed. But I think 100% this was the plan all along. And I do think Faye's still alive.
You do?
I'm one of those people that think she's still alive because all of the comms, again, I haven't got anything up in front of me at the moment, but Kelso is talking in the present tense. She's saying, I'm being followed. She has 9 lives. Cassandra, she is speaking about Cassandra as if she's sitting right there in her notes. So I don't know why she would do that if she was talking about a watch or herself or... But yeah, so I'm one of those conspiracy theorists that think that Faye Lyle's still alive. I love the fact that Keener's back. And it goes back to what we were saying in the podcast last time, how I said about Iron Man and his redemption arc.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we're going. I think whatever we do in Brooklyn, I think we're going to be working alongside them, not necessarily straight away. Maybe we have to find out more intel or something like that. And then I think Keener's going to die at the end of the at the end of the DLC. I think that he'll complete his arc, he'll complete his mission, and then that will be his full circle. So again, I don't have any notes or anything today, but I think Faye's alive. Love that Keener's back, and I think he's going to die at the end of Brooklyn.
The problem with him completing his mission is his mission not to take out everybody.
It's to stop the corruption, isn't it? It's to stop the division going into the wrong hands. I think he does believe in the division's cause. He's always said that, but we're currently fighting the wrong cause. We, since Nat and everyone else has got involved, it's gone a different direction, isn't it? It's not what he thought it was. It's not what we thought it was in Division 1. So I think he's going to try and restore order to a certain point, but he'll die doing it. So
Okay.
that's my thought on it. I'll probably have more as we're talking and people remind me, but
Yeah. I'm going to let
That's
Augustus
what I'm
talk
thinking.
next then, because I know Augustus, you got a lot to say.
I really don't have a much to say on top of that, but what I will say is that where the division ultimately seems to be going is that one of these two people that we've now known as the true big bad of this series. I think we've kind of been okey-doked here. That we've always thought that Keener was the ultimate evil of the division. And now we really have to look at Calvin McManus, who is the director of Homeland Security, and Natalia Sokolova, the, I guess, chairman, CEO, whatever her title actually is, of Black Tusk, as the true ultimate evils. And part of the reason why they are so ultimate is because now they have, well, to at least Isaac, the credit of the United States, or what's left of it. You know, McManus is a member of the cabinet. He would be in the presidential line of succession if said president doesn't turn up. And Natalia has already had a president in her back pocket, already had a couple presidents killed, and seems to be working with Calvin at the top level to say, hey, we're the people that are going to rebuild America, so make sure that Isaac knows that. I don't really see how you can take either one of them out without doing what Kelso and I think ultimately us are going to have to do, which is abandon Isaac, go rogue, and go after them. So I agree with everything that they're doing from a story-wise point. I just don't see what reasoning you have to bring Keener back.
Yeah.
I just don't see it. I would prefer, and this is a little shout out to Massive if they're listening, which they probably aren't.
They might.
I would have preferred if we bring Keener back that we never touch the body. You know, take that end cutscene to Liberty Island, and we literally are touching Aaron Keener. We literally see him die in front of us. We see the breath leave his body. And you're telling me he's still alive after that? Someone who's hanging out in the back with a reviver hive, you know, just popping him back up?
It was planned.
I get it. I just don't think it was done in the best way. I would have preferred, you know, say Keener, you know, because it's on the pier. Keener instead says, you don't have no idea what's coming, drops his watch and falls into the river. And we never actually see his body again.
Yeah.
That would have worked better to bring him back. But for us to physically touch, you know, we physically touched Theo Parnell. We saw him get shot, even though he had a whole bunch of decoys. The decoys even read, hey, he's dead when he physically died. So now he's back? Again, through the logic of the game, is it possible that somebody had a reviver hive and, you know, threw it on him at the end of it? Sure. But who and when and why? And now that the thing is that now brings more questions and answers. And that's what kind of gets me kind of stuck on it.
Yeah. I was hoping for less questions at this point, and you are right, more questions. But they did deliver, I think, on the end of the season with the... They delivered, but yeah, there's still loads of questions. And there's still questions about Schaefer, what's his involvement, what's going to happen there. He's not even been mentioned in the end of the season, which we thought he may have. And then there's that unknown figure in the footage. Was that Keener? Was that a hunter? Who was that? Is there someone else we don't know about? Yeah. There's still loads of questions. What do you think, incoming?
What's in the briefcase?
What's in the briefcase. We all forgot about. I forgot about the briefcase. So is Zorgina. What is in the briefcase?
So it's probably a Shade server. Because it was that's what I think is the Shade server from the prior Manhunt mission. So it's probably another Shade server, but it's a rogue Shade server.
They said the rogue server was shut down, right?
That we know of.
Server somewhere.
So
Like a
Sokolova
backup
said that whatever she was doing with the recruiter, those countermeasures that shut down our Isaac server also shut down the rogue network. So, and if you listen to one of the Descent comms, they specifically say the mobile Shade servers are supposed to look like suitcases, so they don't look out of place anywhere they are. So that I can pretty much guarantee that's a Shade server, but one specifically designed for the rogues.
It makes sense.
I mean, that's what all the comms look like. They're saying there's enough, because if you listen back to, oh gosh, which one of these was it? I'm probably gonna forget which one, but one of those comms is Theo Parnell reintroducing himself to Viper, Brigitte Douglas, saying, "Hey, I've got enough mobile Shade servers to start a rogue network. I'm just missing one." I'm betting that's the one. And one of the reasons why it required, Faye and Keener's watches was because Faye wasn't going to sign off on starting a rogue network without her approval.
So, few things just in chat. Obviously, recording this live. Rick's just said, didn't Isaac confirm he died? Maybe Isaac was hacked and lied. I think that was touched on in this manner, wasn't it? I think one of the comms said how he was pronounced agent deceased, which doesn't make sense because he was rogue at the time. But it was just, it kind of confirmed that they just fooled us, and that was the plan, Rick. He was never dead. Keener has been dead for years. Just say that's the other thing. Does anyone know? Do you know the time frame? Hello, I think was it you that knew it? Like from the moment. It's been 4 years for us since Keener died, but how long is it actually in game? Well, never died, but you know what I mean.
No, we couldn't work it out, could we?
No.
It's been months, I think.
Months,
I can't remember who said it. I think it's been a few months.
Yeah.
There was one where
Kelso went missing after the incursion. We did work that one out, and it says it on one of those comms in the recent one. Faye's been missing since saving people from the Merit Estate.
Yeah, Kelso's inside. Okay.
So we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 seasons at this point.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Hang
7,
on,
8. This is number 10. Yeah.
Yeah, this is number 10.
Is that not including any of the reruns?
That is not including reruns.
Yeah, not including.
That's also not including the DLC either, which is just Keener himself.
Yeah, yeah.
But remember, the first season, which was Jupiter, began literally right after Keener died.
Yeah.
So let's assume that we're talking weeks. We're talking 10 weeks. This has all happened over the last 2.5 months, give or take.
Could be longer.
It's probably a bad
know.
assumption to make on weeks, but
yeah, you could work it. I think you can work it out in the comms. In one of the last podcasts, we're talking this with Ozone and whoever else jumped in, and excuse me, and they did kind of work. I forgot what they said. I'd have to watch it back. See, this is where I'm so bad because I just. But the time frame's not 4 years. That's a cert. It's not before.
Yeah, it's 4 years for us. But
yeah, it's 4 years for us, but the game no. And we do think that's because. Massive got pulled to Star Wars, Avatar, we had COVID. The game had that 18-month break, didn't it? There's that huge 18-month break at the end of Warlords. I do think what's happening now is what they planned. I always had a feeling there was more planned. And I think we're getting there now, and they've probably reinvented it a little bit more as well as time's gone on, because they've had a whole new team. I believe they hired new story writers as well. I think a new story writer came in. So whether that was for the Division 3 or not, we don't know. But yeah, so my next question is then, so we know Keener's alive. it kind of delivered that. Now there's still loads of questions. Obviously, we've got loads of questions, but more now in terms of the seasons. We're meant to go into DLC right now. Next season is meant to be the DLC. It got delayed by a year. This is the big question. Lots of the complaints I'm seeing in the Discord today was, I can't believe we've got to wait a year now to continue this. What do you think they're going to do for this year?
I'm not sure they even know what they're going to do to fill that gap, because it's such a cliffhanger to keep people waiting. But they must have something planned. Whereas I thought, oh, well, it'll be reruns. Again, I'm new to PC. That doesn't bother me in the slightest. Give me my flip-flops back. I really want them.
Exactly.
But the fact that they're bringing out new gear and new weapons, and we've had a PTS, suggests that they do have a plan. So, but I couldn't even tell you where it is, because we can't go over after Nat, because that ruins what Kina and that crew are doing.
That is their mission, right?
Yeah, we
That's our
can't go
shared
after
mission.
Kina, because then we're they could do, maybe we get a bit of a backstory or something like that, but I can't work out what they're going to do to fill the gap. Usually you can go, the reruns would make sense. They've told us well in advance that there's going to be a year's delay, because they want to make sure that the content comes out correct and bug free. Oh, I say that with a lull at the end. Bug free and no problems. But what they're going to fill the gap with is no one knows. The fact that the new gear and weapons coming into it suggests that there is going to be something, surely.
Yeah, I think it's good. I don't think we're going to have a 12-month drought again like that 18-month one. That's when we had those reruns, wasn't it, during that 18-month?
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be that again. I hope it's not that again. I wouldn't mind if it is again, because like you, I come from PS, change from main to PC. I'm all for those reruns right now. I'd take it. But a lot of people won't be happy with that. That's going to probably be 12 months of a dead game, just like it was before with the 18. They'll survive, obviously. And then you got a DLC coming and everybody's back. They want to get that right. So the priority is the DLC, but surely with all the time they've taken and the delays they've done, they probably knew. See, where you say, for me, where you say that I don't think they know what they're doing, I think they do know what they're doing. If you remember back to when they first announced that the Division 2 was going to continue, we're going to do all this, we're going to work on it, blah, 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 blah. So much, I think right then they didn't know what they were going to do. You had that specialization revamp announced, which is a couple of years ago now. They went back on that. You had a lot of discussion that kind of just went back on, and they kind of said, we're wiping the slate clean. Yannick said there's not a lot of content coming right now. It's going to be drips and drabs, but we're working to the greater good sort of thing. I think we're at that greater good now. I think they've been planning this ever since they got back into work. And I'd like to think this next year, when they made the decision to delay the DLC, they've been working on content for this year, whether it's answering some of the questions we've got. You know, do we wake up Schaefer? Do we now go down that story arc and see what that's all about? Is he the one that finds out potentially what our next task in Brooklyn's going to be? Do we figure all that out now over the next year? And have they kind of created that for us? I'd like to see that plus season reruns. I don't know. Not a whole 12-month of reruns, though. That sucked.
You'd figure that they knew about Project Revamp back in, what was it, last October. So when they decided that they were going to delay everything. So you've pretty much got around 4 months to get your writing team to call you an audible to say, hey, give us some extra backstory to fill in this gigantic gap. Because let's assume, and this is probably a very bad assumption, that the DLC, Brooklyn DLC, is going to come out January, whatever, first week of January 2025. We're almost into May, which means we got 7 months to kind of hang out. So I guarantee you they thought of something. I just don't know what that something looks like. And I think that something may just be more descent comms or more hidden comms around, they may end up actually opening up all the classified events to everybody, which I don't think they've done yet. I'm pretty sure the classifieds aren't. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you still have to pay for the classifieds. Yeah. So I would like, that's a very easy fix to give at least part of the game. That's, there's a month that you can just say, hey, everybody's got free access to all the classifieds, and you can pull all the comms and all the nice stuff out of there. I do want to shout out on YouTube. Savvy6 said, "Don't forget the end of game rework is coming in October. We can assume they'll patch the stories and the holes in the story by then." Good shout. I've completely forgot that rework is coming in October, because they were supposed to. I think this is supposed to be yet another time that they were going to try to redo the Project Nightmare, which ended up being nothing. Supposedly there was a Kinley College rework in there somewhere. I doubt that's ever going to happen. But I think there's just enough. I think we might get one season replay. I don't know which one it is. I still think the ultimate story beat is that at some point we are going to lose access to the White House. That, to me, is what's the ultimate story beat that's going to be led up to when it comes to this DLC. I don't think we're going to be staying in the White House long. I think we're going to be kicked out.
Okay.
This is probably a bigger conversation to have, but I've always said that the grand story beats are that the Division itself is declared a rogue organization. That the Division is now going against the will of the leaders of the United States, who happens to be Calvin McManus. I don't know which one of those people were taken out. So Calvin McManus is the Director of Homeland Security, which puts him, because Homeland Security is the 25th cabinet, it puts him 29th in the presidential line of succession.
Okay.
So we're presuming
a lot of those
that
no longer exist.
Yeah, we're presuming a lot of those people are dead. So it may have fallen to him by default. So it may be that he gets to waltz back in the White House and say, "This is my house because I'm the de facto president." And Isaac's going to say, "You're right, sir. Welcome home." And we know he's a bad guy. Isaac doesn't. We may not be in the White House long.
Imagine not getting kicked out by
eviction notice. See ya.
Okay.
I've got this at the end of the day to pack your stuff up.
I do wonder what what's it called from the Pentagon? The biofusion reactor. They came and stole that, and then we've just not even thought about it.
There's so many different sort of arcs that we've not had tied up to. All we've had tied up today is Keena's alive, Kelso's sorted, we're going to Brooklyn, that covers that. But there's that reactor, there's Schaefer, there's so many questions still to be answered. And
we still don't even know where that bunker is. Remember?
The safety room or something.
Yeah, the safety bunker that Sokolova had built. We don't even know where that is. We just know Schaefer's the key to get in there.
Maybe we go.
Presumably, that's where he was aiming the Eclipse missile, but that was Manhattan. There's so many extra questions.
This was my next theory about the next seasons. That Schaefer wakes up, and it's what's it call it? Our manhunt is essentially to go and find this bunker. They could do that over we don't have to find physical people. We just need to find a way into this bunker. So he wakes up, he vaguely remembers something. So we have to go and find clues, or that could potentially be a season. It could even drag that into 2 seasons. So that takes us 6 months into the year. Like 6 months further into the year.
That's fair. I can see that.
Because that's another loose end, isn't it? That's one that we could do in the background that it's irrelevant to the story of Keena, Kelso, and Natalia.
Maybe it will be just tying up some loose ends. It makes me think what I would say, I'd go back to all this was meant to happen now, so this DLC was meant to happen now, so if they didn't delay it, all these loose ends would have been open going into this DLC. So was the DLC going to explain all these loose ends? If that's the case, then I don't know. Obviously, lots have changed. I'm sure they brought in new writers. They got loads of new team members. They could have although this was planned from the end of Warlords of New York, in the time it's taken since that 4 years. There could have been a lot of adjustments to the story, a lot of tweaks, and they could have, yeah. It's all planned. I think they know what they're doing. And one thing what excites me as well, do you remember it was a Division Day, they did an anniversary video recently where they got some content creators involved, and at the end it cuts out and there's just Yannick there in the studio, and he's like, he talks to whoever's recording him, he's like, "Are we done?" And he said, "Oh, right, I can't wait." I think his words are something like, "I cannot wait till we can start talking about some of this stuff." It hinted there's a lot to come, and then they mentioned Division Day recently as well. And Division Day, they said, we're not going to have a Division Day this year, but we do have a stream plan to discuss with you about upcoming things or what, which I imagine is going to be the stream before the next season. So I think we're going to get a lot of answers on that stream before the next season, and I really hope there's some good news in terms of not just season reruns, potentially some new content to keep us going until that DLC drops. I think the signs are there to say there is something.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I still think they probably called an audible and said, we're going to change at least some of the story up, because it's way too long to wait for another year. Even if they, had this planned, obviously, this has been written 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So they've clearly not done an audible with the content, but they are probably going to have to do an audible just with the filler, because otherwise we're all just kind of staring at each other doing the same stuff. I mean, I'm sure the new gear set will be fun. Apparently it's going to get some tweaks, but they're going to have to give us something story-wise.
I'm sure though. I'm like 99% certain, because like recently as well, you've seen loads of changes at the direction they're going with all these new skins as well. Every single few weeks there's a new skin to buy, and that they're thinking of how they're going to monetize the next year before the DLC. That's how they're going to do it. So I imagine they don't want a dead 12 months, do they? It's the last thing they want. So I'm sure we'll find out soon. I want them to stream now. I want to know what's happening.
Yeah, can you just tell us what's happening, please?
Yeah, can someone just
whatever you do, Massive, don't skull and bones this game, please. Don't let this game end up being just a bunch of monetization fest. Let's keep it exactly as it were. We liked our story. We like our gameplay. Don't try to sell us every single thing every week. This is a nice little change, having the new outfits every week. Don't make this kind of a ongoing thing, because then you start rushing stuff and then it turns into crap.
Yeah.
Let's not do that.
I can't see them making us go and find Kelso and Kina and stuff, because that's exactly the same as this season. Thinking about it now, if we have to find notes that Kelso leaves behind for the year, like, I think we're just going to be invited to go and meet up with them wherever they are when it's time for the DLC. I think they can't make. I don't think they'll want to put us through another wild goose chase.
It's got to be different, hasn't it? Because we can't just have another DLC where we're chasing Kina. That's not going to happen. And we don't even know yet. There's the thing. We don't even know if this DLC is going to be paid or free. I'm sure it's going to be a paid expansion. It'll be the second expansion. You'll have to pay for it. And in that case, then I expect a lot more. But if it is just a free DLC, then potentially it is just going to be more the same old with just the story enhancing. So we don't know yet. We need to know that.
There's a timeline for the Legacy Manhunts if you go to the Legacy Manhunts. I don't know if it's accurate or not, but there is a timeline. It starts at August 20th and it ends 18th of October.
Oh, so it has been a couple months.
2 months.
Okay.
What I wanted to say before was during Mary's Manhunt, I forget who the radio host person is. But in her bio, it says that she moved to the castle in September, which I thought was oddly specific, considering all the weather and stuff is still like July.
Oh, Eva Garcia.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it specifically said September, which I thought was strange. And in the Legacy Manhunts page, that manhunt took place in mid-October. This, of course, is weird because that means we went through Stovepipe, all of Mary's Manhunt, and the Recruiter in 4 days. So I don't think that's a thing.
We are efficient.
Very efficient.
As I said, it was 9 months between Division 1 and Division 2, wasn't there? But
I have
in
no
game,
idea.
in real life, it was 5 years, I think.
In real life it was
It's
7 months.
3 years.
No, in real life it was 3 years, but yeah, in game it was
Yeah.
7 months.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, if you go to the Legacy Manhunts, it actually tells you a date. Strangely, it doesn't tell you a year, which is weird, but that's okay.
Assume it's the same year then.
It goes. I'm just confused because it goes from the 30th of August from Fei Lao's mission to the 30th of September to Captain Lewis, and then the next day is General Anderson.
Yeah, I'm noticing that too. That seems incredibly fast.
Yeah.
It's almost as if they made those dates up, and they're not supposed to make sense.
Yeah, because you had the whole Manhunt to do to get to Anderson, so you did all that in a day.
Oh, we must be well fit.
I know,
We had
right?
them knee pads on, G.
We did.
That's how we got through it so
Cost us
quickly.
knee pads.
Lady Death.
It got us through. I'm called. Okay, should we take some? Anyone in chat want to get involved? Do you have anything to say? Do you have anything you want to discuss? I'm calling it now. DLC will be a big battle royale in Brooklyn. Div versus Sokolova versus Kina versus Bored Hyenas versus Bored Outcasts. I know you're kidding.
Oh no, that sounded quite good.
I know,
Stick with
right?
that.
DLC needs more inventory slots. I think that's actually a no, isn't it? I think Yannick has came out multiple times and said there's no more inventory slots. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he
he said it's a hard no. They can't add any more without sacrificing the servers.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate. What did he say? He actually said he thinks it's more of a hoarding issue than an inventory slot issue. Which I agree.
He was
with how
lying.
Well, see, this is debatable. But yeah. Andrew says, hey, GCROCK, don't forget they made League Weeks and stuff a 3-week thing to spread things out, so I wouldn't go by the legacy dates.
Yeah, so it's gone from a 3-week to a 4-week, and that started with the recruiter.
Yeah. These are the dates in game, Andrew. They're the actual in-game dates of when we did it, right? It's not the dates of when we, as in like our in-game character, we went and took on Anderson. That's the in-game sort of story date that we're talking about,
So
I believe.
in-game time, Keener was dead for about 2 months.
About 2
apparently.
months, yeah. That's what we're trying to figure out,
Apparently.
how long Kino was actually dead. Well, we thought Kino was dead for. Kingslayer said it's been planned because they've been sure to work with the authors of the book to assure they are canon. Yeah, there's been quite a few books in the last year or so, hasn't there? Division Heartland, maybe they will integrate that into season 6. Division Heartland right now is a little bit up in the air. There's rumours the other day. I know we're going off topic slightly, but we'll try and pull it back in. Division Heartland was cancelled. Those rumours are squashed. They're just working on it, obviously. But I wonder if they are making a decision to include Heartland into the Division 2 rather than a standalone game, because that would fill the year. I doubt that.
I could do.
Well,
I hope they're working on new incursions,
I hope
because
they're
that
working
brought
on
back a
new versions.
lot of the people back into the game.
Mm.
I didn't. I'm sure I read somewhere or someone said before they're not planning on doing a raid, or it's not on the cards at the moment, or something.
Yeah, whenever raids are mentioned, we watch every stream, don't we? And that's always come up. We want more raids, and they always shy away from it. And recently, I think Yannick said it. He said, "Think of incursions as the new raid." So
Yes,
I
I'm
think they're
hoping they've
going
got
down
them
that
coming along.
route. I think we need a new raid. I'd love a new raid, but I think they, from what they said in that last stream, I think they'll focus more now on incursions. I expect to see more of that style of content, and I'm going to say there won't be a third raid, which would be very sad.
Oh, we've lost your audio a bit, G.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know if
sorry.
it's just me.
Test. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, you were in and out for a second there.
Sorry about that. But yeah,
Someone can
I was
stuff some
just
stuff into that part. Like, I don't know. Give us more raids. Like, something.
yeah. From their communication about raids, it sounds like it's something they don't want to visit. I wouldn't expect a raid. I don't know. I'm just reading between the lines because they don't want to tell you what they're working on because things change all the time. People get excited. They always stay quite quiet about content, don't they? But imagine if they did that though. If they did release a third raid next year or something like that, people would be buzzing.
I loved Pony's idea of the next incursion of us trying to get through Brooklyn Bridge. Like if they're listening to this and they don't do that, they're mental because that would be awesome. Can you imagine that?
And that would be that bridge the gap between now and the DLC as well in a way. That would lead you on to the DLC. That could be the last incursion. That'd be sick. I like that. I really like that. We're 2 short for raids and 3 trophies short for a trophy case. That I always speak about the raid trophy case because there's 4 slots. It tells me they always had 4 raids planned, and we've only seen 2. So there is still that hope, I guess.
They're the things that keep bringing people back. So if they're looking to get more people into it, put in the raids and incursions into it, that always seems to boost the numbers. Even though every game you have drop-offs, even if you look at Call of Duties and things, they have their peak numbers, don't they? And then they drop off. But you bring out a new raid or there's a new talk, a new raid or an incursion, the amount of people that come back for that incursion was mental. Like you could just see it in with the White House. It was the server you were in was in full capacity because you couldn't move. Like that brings people in. Yes, the storyline does, but like you said yourself, and there's a few others. They don't. These are just manhunts. They're not interested in the storyline. They're just doing it because there's content. Whereas you could put a 24-hour stream out of just you doing incursions. People will come and watch you. People will want to come and join in. If you said, "Oh, I'm doing all of the manhunts for 24 hours," I don't think you would get that. People won't be like, "Oh yeah, come on, pick me." They'd be like, "Good luck with that."
Yeah.
So I've got nothing wrong with the storyline. I love it. That's what's got me hooked. That's what got me through the 18-month drought when they said, "Look, we're going to carry on." So I'm not dissing the storyline at all, and I love this manhunt. Obviously the last couple were very boring, and I just didn't do them, apart from the end ones. But like I love the storyline part of it, but that doesn't necessarily bring people back. And will that keep people interested for 12 months? I don't know.
They could probably take the hit on the 12 months at the same time, though. They're happy to take the hit on 18 months a few years back. So maybe it is just, we know they'll be back for the DLC. We take the hit, rerun seasons. I really think that's unlikely, though. Surely. They know the backlash should get through that at the same time.
They said they weren't going to do it, but I did think it would be interesting if they did legendary missions. Because they said they were going to do it, and then they said later they weren't going to do it, and then now we have a year, right? So I feel like doing legendary missions, there's a lot of missions. I feel like that would hold people over for a while.
Question was asked to Yannick, the last interview thing I saw. It might have been that last stream before the season. It was asked how, with the power creep, legendary missions were mentioned, and it was pretty much a no to that. He mentioned how all the strongholds are already legendary and they've got other plans. They're working on other ways of making the difficulty increase. So they have plans for more difficult content by the sounds of it, but I don't think it's going to be more legendary. What that is, I don't know. That could just be more incursions, more content, another raid. It could be, look at that mission today, how much more difficult it was just by increasing the number of ads in it. Maybe it's a new sort of difficulty. I don't know. But it's something that they're aware of, and they're working towards more difficult content. But they have been asked about more legendary missions quite a lot. And they've never kind of said yeah to that. But it could be something they do. Alan says there's also a missing hunter mask on the wall. So we still haven't got that hunter mask.
That is not the freedom mask either, by the way.
Yeah,
I got it and it's not there.
I was going to say, have they confirmed that though, or is it a case of it's just not been updated? So maybe for people that haven't done it, it gives it a spoiler.
It's been
wasn't there
confirmed
something
on
before?
Twitter. I think it's Palais on Twitter. He said they know it's there, and yes, it's intended.
Okay.
I figured just because that's what Schaefer's did too. Schaefer's isn't hung anywhere either. The deceit mask.
Yeah, true.
So that I just figured that was supposed to be how it was.
I think the two hunters that you have in mission, neither one of them are on that wall.
I do wonder what was with Schaefer's hunter though. Now, like, knowing
it
what
started.
we do now.
What is it? Is the one that growled? It didn't actually say words.
Yeah, it laughed at you.
That one was weird. I'm just really quick. Adam Good in YouTube. I wonder in the season who we find out who these hunters are working for. Keener says it himself, even mentioned it about it. We actually do know who the hunters are working for. They are all, and you find this out in the recruiter missions. Every hunter is actually a given hunter by McManus himself. So they are directly under the Director of Homeland Security, which is probably why they are so dangerous. Because they're not answering to Isaac, they're not answering to Anna, they're not answering to anybody except McManus. Which probably is the reason why they need to be taken out first.
Do we know how many people are still alive from the whole presidential, like, I forget what the exact thing's called, but like president
line
dies,
of
he goes to
succession.
vice. Yeah, how many people are still alive from that? Because I'm sure there's a lot we just haven't heard of because they're not plot relevant.
That's a very good question. So
No idea.
I know we're
your
missing at
presidential line of
least like
succession is
4.
always the vice president, then the Speaker of the House, then the president of the Senate pro tempore, then I believe it's somebody else, and then it's all your cabinet positions.
Yeah, it's Secretary of State, Treasury, Defense, Attorney General.
Yeah, it's
Interior,
based on
Agriculture.
the order of which they were established in the Constitution. And there's a big list. It's the 25th Amendment to the Constitution. Go look it up for yourself on a random Tuesday. But there's
This is a
a
random
very
Tuesday.
large list, and we're presuming that all of those people are either dead or just can't be found. Which, during a crisis which kills 97% of the American population, probably accurate. All we need to do is find one.
Homeland Security is the very, very last person.
Yeah. The Homeland Security is the most recent cabinet created, and it was created in 2001 by President George Bush. So it's always going to be last. Unless we create another cabinet, of course, then it becomes the new last.
The
Still
newest
didn't get
act
any
of the
more information about
Constitution.
Merit either. Oh, sorry to interrupt.
No, we
That's
didn't.
fine.
She had a massive play in all the comms. There's more to her story, I'm sure there is.
She's standing in Haven. She's standing right there. She's the girl that's standing in Kelso's
Yeah,
place.
she took Kelso's spot in Haven.
Which is also why I wonder why we're not asking her about literally everything.
I didn't even
Yeah.
notice that.
I didn't know that was her. I just thought it was a random
Yeah.
girl they pulled off a fruit cart down the road or something.
The only way you can know is if you have captions turned on and she'll just randomly say, like, hope I don't get sick.
Ah.
That's the
I'm gonna
only
say
way you'll be
Merit.
able to tell.
Right.
Because you don't see her prior to that. You just hear from her.
Never
I might have
meant
to
that.
pop in and say hello to her tomorrow.
I put that in the lore chat that, hey, this is Mackenzie Merritt. And I only say this because I had no idea that was Mackenzie Merritt.
So
I have yet to play the incursion, so I didn't know who she was until that popped up, and when I had my subtitles on, so that was a nice, fun
Right.
surprise.
Scalix in YouTube, we still haven't heard from the strategist since his abduction, so we could have a season regarding him and the underground city that Nat is working on. We discussed that underground bunker or something, didn't we? That does still need to be investigated. You mentioned
The
Growling or
Shradders is
something.
from the Outlaws? From the Outcasts, I should say.
I don't know. Strategist since his abduction, I don't know who that is.
Well, I mean, the Outcast strategy is kind of useless to us now that Emmeline is dead.
Or is she? She could be alive. She could be part of all of this.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Now we're starting to bring everybody back.
That's exactly what you said.
Who's coming back now?
I think just Aaron Keenan's coming back. I don't think anyone else is. I'd have pushed Faye Lau, but I really doubt. I think Keenan's the only dead guy that's still alive.
And Theo.
And Theo, that's true. Okay.
And technically Schaefer, but he never died. I
He
guess.
never died.
Schaefer never died. He was in a coma. He was always in a coma.
He's basically dead, but
Mostly dead.
Coma's not dead. Is it an induced coma though, or is he? Do we even know that?
We shot him.
Yeah, we shot him. But
Coma because Kelso legitimately said during the comm at the end of his mission, "Oh, he's not dead. He's just in a coma. We can bring him back."
Okay.
They take him back for questioning, and then he's just not been anything.
Okay. Well, I mean, are we keeping him in a coma? Could we wake him up at any time? Well, we don't know. He hasn't been in a coma that long, has it? Because the time stamp is only 2 months since Keena died.
Just drop a revive hive.
So we've not had him for as long as we think. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I don't understand about this game. We've all got revive hives. Anyone who dies, we can bring them back.
We die, and then just aren't dead afterwards. Like, we fully die. He's not fully dead.
Pony says
Keena hit a respawn.
The mastermind to all of this is the missing barber from the White House who got replaced by a mirror in season 2.
Yep.
Didn't notice he went missing either.
He's been put somewhere else because they're missing someone to stand in front of the masks. So wherever Merritt was, he's out back in their estate, cutting people's hair, the cleaners that are dead. But they might not be dead anymore. But this is what I'm saying. The technology that the division agents have, we have pulse resistance, which is essentially you don't hear a heartbeat. Isn't it? If you're in the dark zone, you don't know there's a person there. So Faye, Keena, Theo, all of these could have used that sort of, they could have made their own version or use that version that shows that they've got no vitals. We know that they can hack Isaac because he's just useless. We have revive hives, so we have the technology that if someone goes down, we can get them back up. So really, it's not really. I can't think of the word, but
in game, it's not
Keena being alive.
The idea, it's not far fetched that these people can all be alive even after we leave. True. You'd like to hope, but for the sake of telling the story, you'd like to hope that the person's legitimately dead, they're legitimately dead. Because if you go back the route, well, nobody's really dead, well, then what's the point? That's my only issue.
I just love it.
These people aren't really dead, then everybody's not really dead.
Yeah,
because you never know when somebody can drop a revive hive on whoever.
Yeah.
And then we're doing this all over again. It just kind of cheapens the whole thing. There's no finality. There's no real consequences.
Like, did we see Faye Lau's body get cremated, or have we just been told that?
We did see the body bag in his cutscene.
Yeah,
but did we see her in the body bag?
We did.
We never saw her get set on fire. We saw her being placed into a body bag by Kelso. Now, I understand the idea was, well, Kelso just did a nice little quick switch. The problem is, Kelso can't fly a helicopter, which means there's at least one other person out there that saw that.
She can. Kelso's a pilot.
Kelso's not a pilot, is she?
I think.
Did she fly a helicopter?
I don't know if she's the one flying the helicopter, but she was at least in every helicopter at some point.
Well, I mean, she's
like
in the helicopter. Doesn't mean she's flying the helicopter. Hang on.
But this is what I'm saying. In the real world, so what we're living in now, not game world, you can take a drug that will reduce your heart rate to the point of nothing.
Correct.
Yeah.
And if there is enough people trying to get Faye Lau, so Aaron Keena basically faked his death, didn't he, at this point, because he couldn't be trusted. So there's nothing saying Faye Lau didn't.
But the body bag and her being inside of it. What happened in that cutscene? Did we never see it get put on fire or anything, do we?
So
No,
what we
she
see
just
is
pushes it on
her
the
body
helicopter.
laid out,
Mm.
and then we see it being put in a body bag, and then that immediately cuts to Kelso looking at the computer and pulling up the files, the Black Tusk and the Langley files that we take on. So that's what you see in the cutscene, but we assume, because what Benitez says is, hey, you bring that body home. We assume that Benitez and Rhodes took possession of Faye's body to cremate it. That's the assumption. I would
It's
hope
just an
that they were
assumption.
smart enough to look in the bag to verify, but maybe not. Maybe they're idiots. Who knows?
But they only have to look once.
True.
And then, but we've already got unknown people walking around the Haven that are undetected and unknown presence. That could be Faye. She could have just got out of her body bag and walked off.
So,
And they could have set light
Adam
to
Good
some
on YouTube
potatoes.
says Yannick confirms that Faye is defo dead.
I think I remember that.
Good enough for me.
Yeah, I think I remember Yannick did say she's dead.
He did, but if the storyline wants her to be alive,
Yeah.
then
Yannick might lie to us. Maybe Yannick's double crossing us. Maybe he's rogue, you know?
See, then
Exactly.
who else is lying? Again, that brings up even more questions. If everybody's lying, then no one is.
Hmm. Be interesting to see them implement a Revive Hive in a TV show or movie. I don't think they would.
just have people stabbing themselves with that syringe. You know, when you're down and someone comes to revive you and you do it yourself anyway.
Yeah.
But
He said
That is something that I do want to
Faye.
note that is being brought
Ah.
up in the YouTube chat.
I've just got the chat
Why
up
is
now and I've just
Natalia
seen what Alan
referring
said.
to Faye as Cassandra?
Hmm.
Because Cassandra and Vanguard are supposed to be names that only the people that are in on the plot know. How the hell does Natalia know that?
Comms, I guess. I don't know.
Hmm.
That is true.
That's what I'm saying. Every time we do one of these, we have more questions than what we do answers. We get ourselves even more confused. But yeah,
At least we know Keena's alive now, though.
Hooray! He did try to kill us more than once, so
I'm glad he's
we
alive.
were trying to kill him.
I think he got a proper shitty send off, and I'm glad he's alive. I don't think Faye Lau's alive. I think that one's alive. I don't think anyone else is alive. Theo, Keena, that's it.
I do think
Hello
Hello right though.
Hmm.
I think the game might end with Keener making the heroic sacrifice and making himself out to be the hero that everybody says he is, and that's his legacy. That
Yeah.
he died saving America from the true evil.
Hello
That-
made a good point
The
last time about
super
this.
egotistical bastard that Keener is. That's the perfect way to leave your legacy. I'm the one who saved everybody, and I
Yeah.
died doing it.
You said last time, didn't you? We didn't know Keena was still alive, but you said Keena died for the cause. Faye Lau died for the cause. Whatever this cause is worth dying for.
Yeah.
And so again, Faye has died for the cause, and I think eventually Keena will end up dying for the cause, just as you just said, and that will be his legacy. And I think that's where we're probably headed. I don't know if that'll be end of DLC, or do you think they've planned that far ahead that they've already got the Division 3 story laid out, and this is all going to lead up to that now? Will Keena still be in the Division 3? Will this all be settled before then? Nobody knows, I guess.
Well,
This,
got,
this
what,
reminds me of
2-3
the
years?
start of Division 3.
Yeah, we got a
again.
couple of years before we're going to hit Division 3. So
We
they
don't know
probably
that,
got a good
though.
idea.
Yeah, they have.
They confirmed it's no time soon. I think they did that on Twitter the other day.
Yeah, they confirmed this no time soon, but they also confirmed that once they finish Star Wars, they're working on it. It only took them 2 years to make Star Wars.
Mm.
So people say in 2030, years and years and years away. I don't think it's going to be that long that people think. I initially said I reckon 26. I'm sticking with 26, 27. So you're looking at
26.
2-3 years.
I'm going to
I
say
reckon.
26, or they drop it to March of 27 because Division 1 came out in March of
16. It would be
16.
an absolute great play to release it on the 10th year anniversary, which would be March 26.
Yeah.
But I think that would be too soon because we're looking at less
A little
than 2
too
years
soon.
at that point. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be as long as people think, though. I think As soon as they know, they've got to wait probably. They've got to see how Star Wars does. They probably have the plan around that. But that releases this August. There's a bit of work to do afterwards for the team. But as soon as that game's out, they'll have their endgame team or whatever. And then everybody's going to be moving on to the Division 3. And Star Wars was made pretty quick. I think the Division's a much more complicated game to make, though, at the same time. I don't know what Star Wars is yet. But Division's quite complicated.
I'm just more annoyed that you haven't actually found Kelso. Like, that was the whole point of this season. It's just clicked that we haven't actually found her. She's just wandered off with 2 guys now. So now we have to be worried about her as well as trying to find her.
Didn't even get to talk to her or anything. She played us, so she never Keena could have killed her. She kept us alive. So I like to think that's thanks to Kelso. Or Keena needs us still. In the comms, it suggests that he wants us to be on his side, right?
But Kelso could have put in her note, by the way, we're going to lead you to this stranded bunker or whatever we are, stranded tanker. You're going to go to open a box. You will get electrocuted that you've just seen me do it on the CCTV. Don't fret. Like, someone's just going to come and rob part of your watch and then just leave you there. Like, she could have put something in a note, couldn't she? Could you just leave your watch behind the sink? Like in the toilets in the Burger King down the road? Like, she could have done any of that, but instead, like, they don't know I'm not got a pacemaker on. That could have killed me.
I doubt you would be a shade agent if you had a pacemaker.
And what if I had full 100% hazard protection on? That would have done nothing to me, and I would have just been stuck in front of Aaron Keane and be like, all right, mate.
Very true.
Sure, I killed you. Like, see, they don't think this far ahead of things. People will nitpick. But yeah, we didn't get to speak to her. We didn't get to see her. We just saw a cutscene. So maybe before the DLC got pushed, maybe we were going to have that confrontation with her. Maybe we were going to have this conversation this season, and that's what's being reworked. Because if we don't get the answers that we were looking for from Kelso here, they've not strung us along as such, but they've kept us waiting for the DLC.
Makes sense to take a little part out of it to then extend. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
It feels like we're missing something. It feels like we're missing a chunk of dialogue somewhere to explain this last manhunt.
Yeah.
That's why I think they're going to call an audible and start giving you just essentially a bunch of comms at some point in time in the next couple months. You know, of, hey, it's Kelso here. Here's an explanation for this stuff. That's I think that makes a lot of sense, and I don't think it's gonna do the 100% complete job, but it's gonna get you close enough.
I'm still confused why we got zapped and Keener didn't, because we had
it was Keener's. I guarantee it was Keener's chest. He programmed it.
Well, yeah, but we had his watch. He just cloned our data and opened it. How did he not?
He had both watches. I don't even think that bit's confusing. He had both watches.
We could have had Creep and Death on, and it could have got him. Like, he's brave. He's brave for a dead man.
You just needed both watches to open it. You had Kelso with Phase Watch, so he had that. And then he had us. So he got our watch. He had both watches. So we opened it. Kelso was
I
with
wonder
him,
if it's something it had to be biometric. That's why it shocked. It was expecting, legitimately Faye Lau's biometrics, and when it got Alani Kelso's, it shocked her.
When you watch a cutscene, sorry to interrupt. When you watch a cutscene again, Hello pointed this out to me. When she got shocked in the first one, it only went halfway. That kind of said you needed 2 keys. There's a line or something. Was a charger? It was only half full. So you're missing the other half. So we just assumed that's why you got shocked. We could be wrong. Mine needed both watches, but the way the comms were saying she needed us to open that box, and it just made sense that it was the watches. And then Keena scans our watch and opens it. So I guess it just required the 2 watches. Or it's his box. I don't know.
Again, more questions than answers.
Yeah.
Like, what other game has this kind of discussion? Like, where people say, oh, this game's dead. You could have a conversation for hours about this game and you still would be so far off what they're going to do or what they're planning. And they're so good at just keeping, well, it's also a bad thing, but they're so good at keeping everyone so hooked on the storyline. Like,
it's either
what other
great
game
writing
does
or
this?
terrible writing.
Yeah.
Pony loves my optimism as they've released Div 3 on the 10-year anniversary after 10 years of not dropping anything on a legitimate Black Friday. That's true. They do kind of like their anniversaries, though, of the game. I'm thinking of someone mentioned Yannick being a hunter as well. I don't think they would have thought that far ahead and have.
Yannick, what is the Yannick the Beard? Is that considered a hunter or is that considered a rogue? Yeah, because
It's just
you
the name
unlock
boss,
it the
isn't
same
it?
way. It's technically considered a hunter,
Mm.
wouldn't it be?
I think so.
I don't know if he hacks the skills. Because if he does, then he's, in a literal sense, a hunter, even though he probably isn't actually a hunter.
Okay, I screwed something up. Tom Clancy's The Division, the very first one, initial release date was December 9th, 2015. So they're not making it to the 10th year anniversary on that one. That's not coming out in a year.
Sure, it's 2016.
Positive. So says Wiki.
Where am I getting the 2016? 8th of March 2016. Division initial release date. The
Where am
Division
I?
was
I know it
released
got
on
pushed back
8th
for
of
2 years.
March, 2 years after its initial planned release. So you might be seeing one of the previous dates it was planned.
Okay, wait a minute. Yeah, my fault.
That's
My
okay.
fault.
They did get a lot of delays, didn't it? I remember.
Yeah.
I was interested in it and I just went off it because of the delays. And then when the Division 1 first came out, there's quite a bit of moaning. Still moaning today, to be honest with you. I should have ignored it back then. I'm sure it was great. But I got put off by all the people moaning about it. I didn't get it till... I forget what day I got it. But I think it was the title update where they included loadouts. That's when I got into the Division 1. I remember saying, how did this game not have loadouts prior? It's kind of shocking. Glad it had it when I got there.
I got the Division 1 when Division 2 got released because they put it on sale for like half price. And I was like, well, this is interesting.
Hmm.
And then Division 2 was released PS4, Windows, Xbox One, March 15th, 2019.
They stuck with the March. That's what makes me think they might aim for the anniversary. They probably won't. I imagine it'll definitely be a March, though. Division 1 March, Division 2 March, Division 3 March, who knows?
Yeah. You never know.
Right. Quick scan over chat before we end this, then. I think we've agreed there's still loads of more questions and answers. We're all quite excited about where it's going, though, yeah? We're excited.
I am, while I may not be happy with the direction, I'm very happy that I was able to guess correctly the actual pathway that people are going rogue. I still think the Division 3, we're all going rogue. Full stop. Everybody's a rogue agent in Division 3. I still think that's happening. I still think the game is on the perfect pathway to get us there. I still think that we are going to take out not both, but at least one of McManus or Sokolova and be declared an enemy of the state. So I'm very happy with where the division is going because the exact way I thought they were going. And it's a perfect story as it is.
So I would love to have the option to go rogue. I think we spoke about this before, G, didn't we? The new Star Wars, you've got that honor system, I think it is. So you choose whether or not you want to be bad or good, and I'd love for that to be implemented into Division some way. So even at the end of this DLC, you decide what you want to be. But I can imagine it would be better suited for the next game. But no, that's what I would like for the next one, or the DLC.
So the choice, it makes sense for the game because, you know. A lot of people request that as well in chat all the time. They want the choice in future game to go rogue or not. That's what Adam again said. I hope we get to choose if we go rogue.
I don't think we're going to get to choose because I don't think Ubisoft wants to spend that much money.
That's fine. It'd be a lot to make that sort of game on top of what they already have, right? I don't know the ins and outs of creating a game, but
No, and I always thought it wouldn't be a possibility. But if they're doing it for this Star Wars, and it's essentially the same team, and it's on Snowdrop Engine,
Who
it
knows?
must be possible.
Yeah.
It's just whether or not it fits the narrative of the stories, doesn't it?
I think anything's possible if you want to make it
Yeah.
happen and want to spend the resources to make it happen. The thing with AAA
Yeah, we
titles,
somehow
isn't it?
brought Theo Parnell back from the dead too. So who knows what we can spend the money on?
Well, I'm going to end this podcast recording there. I think it's been a great chat. Thank you for joining. Hello, Augustus incoming.
Oh, you've gone again.
Appreciate it. I'm back.
You're back now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you all for joining. Been good doing this live. I think we do these live in the future because we can get chat involved and answer your questions too. I think doing a live podcast is good. This will get released later if you want to rewatch it on the channel. Yeah, thank you. It was fun.